There's actually a storm outside, like with 26-mile-an-hour winds
Oh my goodness.
and rain.
That is crazy.
Sorry, I always sign when I get silly. I used to study American Sign Language.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Do you still do it today?
Not as much. Only a little bit.
I think that was something I always had an interest in.
Oh, it's definitely fun. But
yeah,
taking the college courses are pretty rigorous, and you have to spend your weekends talking with other deaf people. So, and
well, do you have
your
somebody?
voice.
Do you have somebody in your family that's deaf? Is that why you went?
No.
Oh,
My son had a friend in school, and her parents were deaf. But I thought it would have been a cool career.
Yeah.
But it was. Where'd Megan go?
She went to get her other hat, I think.
Oh, fine.
No, I'm kidding. I've always thought it was really fascinating. I really did.
Oh, it's definitely a visual language, because you can sign the same sign, but if you have a different facial expression, it changes the whole sign.
Oh,
and
wow.
you don't sign every word. You just kind of describe a picture. So
Yeah,
it's cool.
Excellent. Okay, we're done talking about that, Megan. What's up?
That was awesome. Yeah, I had to close the door to the garage because my husband started using his tools. So, yeah, so I'll have to ask you more about the sign language stuff. That's really cool. How long did you study?
It was a 2-year program that would have taken me 5 years. But they actually lied to me. They said I could take all night classes, and I took all of the language classes. And then when I went to take the interpreter classes, they said I had to take them during the day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And at the time, I didn't want to quit my job.
Yeah.
I could always go back, but it's very competitive, and the closest job is like an hour away.
Wow. Yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah. So I could talk to somebody who's deaf if they came into, like, if I ended up being like a receptionist somewhere, and above all else, I can finger spell anything if I don't remember.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry. I took the whole conversation over.
No, that's good. Okay. Well, do you want to go ahead and start for this week, Debbie, then?
Okay.
Well, I have 2 questions first. Well, I'll say, I forget how many chapters I told you I had last time, but I just finished 31 this morning. So I'm excited about that. I know it was somewhere in the 20s last week. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was like 23.
Yeah, we'll have to go watch the video again.
Yeah, that's great.
And I got Megan's comments earlier today. Those were great feedback. So my goal this week is to do 6 scenes or 6 chapters. I'm going to change it up a little bit, double it. And I had a phone conference with my friend Melissa from California, my virtual friend, like you guys. She wrote a book called Transcendence, and she does some coaching and that kind of thing, and her prices are insane. But she was giving away a free call, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. Because normally for this kind of thing that we're doing, because I told her how this was fantastic, she charges $1,000 per person.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, that's way out of my league.
Where did you say she's located? California?
California.
Yeah. Okay.
And she's also an editor, and she charges like 15 cents a word. So that's out of my price range. But what she did help me out, she gave me this template that I was able to copy to Google Drive, and it has like the title, the author, and then acknowledgments, table of contents,
Mm-hmm.
because that was one of the things that every time I go to write, it bothers me that I can't, because each chapter I want to start on a new page. And anyway, having said all that, I have the template now. I just put my name in and the author's name, the title. So my other goal, I'm going to be crazy and put 2 goals this week, because I know we're getting to the end and I want to squeeze as much as I can for myself. To get the 31 chapters copied and pasted over there, in addition to 6 more chapters. Or more, because you know how I roll.
Right.
And then my questions are, and I don't know if you have these answers or if you know where to find them. Because I was asking her, but it's still a little, my friend Melissa, I was asking her, and it's still a little sketchy. There's something called fair use and being able to quote lyrics of a song and quotes from other people's books and that kind of thing. So in my book, Mended, I want to quote some lyrics from some of the Christian songs that Eric listens to, because he's a Christian in the story. And for me personally, when I listen to music, when I'm exercising, I'm able to do more.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I throw in a Christian song, I can even do more. I don't know why, but that's just how I am. So Eric owns a physical therapy place called Higher Ground, where he plays a lot of Christian rock music. And I got introduced to a lot at this thing called the Uprise Festival. So there's a lot of hard rock bands. There's all kinds of genres where they speak about good things or things about God or whatever. And I want to have some of that music going on in the background at his physical therapy place. But my question is, like, how much of the lyrics can I put in before? Do I have to get permission from the band? You know, all of that. I don't know if you guys know those things. And then in the same vein, I wanted to put together a book of quotes and funny sayings about all the stuff that we're going through now, so people could look back and laugh about it. But again, all the Facebook quotes, I don't know if all of that's copyrighted. Do you guys know anything about that, or is that something we can talk about next time after we all do research?
Yeah, I don't know.
The only thing I know about it is that when I was doing my podcast, the guy that did the media for it, and I wanted a certain music.
Yeah.
He said, and this was 2 years ago, so it could have changed. But he said you can use up to 20 seconds of the music without having to pay for it, as long as you give credit to where the music came from. 20 seconds, and that's not much. The other thing is that if I could put the lyrics in it, as long as I did 2 things. One, if I didn't put the complete lyrics, I have to state that. Okay. And either way, I have to put both the artist and the writer credit, because a lot of the times the artist that I heard it isn't who wrote it. So I had to research and find out who wrote it, who was the original writer, and whose song that I heard did I take it from. That's what he told me, but that was probably 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was going to say something kind of similar. I think you should be able to look up, like I have read it. Now I'm like, oh man, where did I read it? Where same for like quoting another book or whatever. It's like a certain percentage. And so, you know, without having to ask permission or whatever. And so with books, it's easier to be like, I'm not going to quote an entire page of a book. Like I'm usually just doing a couple sentences. So, but then still saying where you found it and everything, which for yours, if you're not wanting to like incorporate that into the story, you may do like little footnotes or whatever that you could, or notes to go in the back of the book, to cite, like she's saying, the both the songwriter and the musician, or the artist. And I did, for my marriage book, want to quote an entire song, because it's one that you can't just Google and find on YouTube, because it was like someone that I sort of knew anyway. So I asked the person who I had seen perform it, and then they sent me to the songwriter, and he was like, yeah, and like, let me know when your book comes out, whatever, so maybe like some of the artists may be harder to reach, but maybe some of the songwriters, I don't know, depending, could be easier to.
I can reach out to them and then decide, because I know some of them personally, because they do like little meet and greets, or they're just starting out, and I'm friends with them on Facebook or Instagram. So maybe I'll just start with, if it makes it in the book, reaching out, and maybe just sticking to the safer ones. But what do you think about the Facebook? Can we take anything off of there? How does that even work? Like quotes? I don't know how that works.
I don't know. I've never looked into it, and I've reposted some.
Oh yeah.
And took the, but I don't worry about that, because I'm not talking sharing. I'm talking do a clip of it where it says who it was from and everything. And I put that on it, but I've never looked into actually taking it and putting in a published piece.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do some more research, but you guys gave me some good feedback. But maybe I'll reach out to the people that I have met and say, hey, I want to write a book, and this is what's going on, and this character can help people learn to walk because they're listening to your music. Would it be cool if I quote some of your songs?
Yeah, that's
maybe. I can't imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine anybody saying no. It gets their name out there and their song out there. I think that would be great.
Yeah, as long as the book's in alignment with what they believe. Because they wouldn't want to be in something where somebody is breaking their album in the store.
Yeah. So true.
Cool, thank you.
That's good. Yeah. Another thing I did too was like, I would ask people when I was quoting them for my book, how would you like for me to cite your stuff, just in case there's like some different name they want you to use or something like that. So another thing to think about. And to make them, to help them feel a little more in control of how it's portrayed or whatever. All right. So you said your goals, and I wanted to also let you know, because you mentioned templates. Maybe you already knew, but and hers is just like simpler or whatever, but Amazon does have templates as well that are where they have
I saw
10 chapters or whatever. Okay.
On your writing course, but I needed something just for me that wasn't on another site, that was on Google Drive. Just until I figure out how I want to publish it, because I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Self-publishing. I'm just, obviously I would love to get paid for it, but I don't know what's going to happen. Just finishing it. It's coming.
All right. Jane, you can go ahead.
Okay. My goal last week was to go through the quotes for the book, which I ended up doing something totally different. I ended up finding the artwork instead of the quotes. I ended up being on a site that just was so inspirational to me, a free photograph site. That I saw a couple pictures, and they just began to speak to me about how I feel about it. So what I did was I downloaded those pictures and then wrote about each picture and what I thought it went with. So I ended up with, I think it's going to end up having 10 different mini chapters. And I ended up with about 14 pictures with a little blurb of each that I think will be with the beginning of each of the chapters.
Nice.
And it's interesting because quite a few of them have come from people taking pictures of the world in the isolation. You know how people are taking pictures of empty streets and empty supermarkets and stuff like that. Some of those artists, I call them artists, photographers, are so gifted at the perspective they're taking the picture. And that's really what began to make me go, you know what? I'm going to use these because they're free to use. You don't have to get permission. And so I spent time doing that this week. And I'm glad I did because now I can go through the quotes to see which one goes with what I've written about the picture. So I got 14 of those done. So that I completed that. My goal for this week is to take those pictures and put them in, like Deb said, she has a template. I have the template for the book, the mini book, ebook, and I want to take those pictures and kind of like border them and put how I want them, and then take the quote and match it. So that's the goal for this week.
What was the website you got those pictures on?
It's called Upsplash, and it's free photographs. They're gorgeous.
Awesome.
Really nice. Yeah. And so I had one question I wanted to ask, and that was, first of all, Megan, the information on the MailChimp, thank you very much, but I still can't get it to work. So what I did was I went to that course place, Udemy or whatever it's called, where you can get any course for like $10. So I bought a course about MailChimp. And so I still am having a problem getting it to happen with the information that I had. So hopefully this course is going to walk me through what I need to do. So my question is, do you feel, each of you, is it better when you get an opportunity to get something free, a free download? How much of it do you reveal in the post? Do you do a picture? Do you give text from it? Which draws you to take that minute to read that, to see if you want it?
Like in a Facebook post?
Yeah, Facebook or Instagram. Yeah. Is it best to just put the picture and put, free download, or taking a clip of what I've written and putting that?
I'm a picture girl, so I'm going to go with a picture with maybe a few words.
Okay.
Because when I scroll through a lot, I read Elephant Journal, The Minimalist, Be More with Less, and they all have articles, but they have a picture, and then under it says like 12 things to not do when you're in isolation or whatever it is.
Right.
If the picture looks cute, because if the picture looks like, sometimes the Elephant Journal has like weird couples on there, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not clicking on that.
Yeah,
so the
really.
picture first, and then if the words are cool, then I'll click on it, and I definitely want to read them.
That's what I was gonna say.
The visual.
The picture gets my attention, but the words make me, like, I'll read a lot about it before I actually click, especially on Facebook, to be like, okay, is this interesting or is it just a good picture?
Right.
It does kind of work together.
I also look above to see if it says sponsored, because then that's an ad.
Oh, I see what you mean, at the top. Yeah.
Yeah, I try not to click on those, because then I'll either end up buying it or wanting to buy it. Like, it's just a nightmare. It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I agree. I don't do those either. That's a dead giveaway to me. Okay, well, that helps me understand, because I found in the short amount of time that I've been posting on social media regularly, which really has only been about 2 months, the ones that I get the most attraction are the cleaner ones. Like I do this every Wednesday. I do a Wednesday word where I define a word. And it's the same background I use for everyone because everybody then now knows that's what it is. But it's very clean, and it just says how I define, and I tell the word, and then I give the little blurb. So I wasn't sure for something free whether I should keep it real clean like that or put a photograph, you know. So I was trying to get clear on that.
Can I give you a quick tip from my marketing?
Sure.
So there's this it's either 4 or 5. I can't think at the second, but when we can count together. There's this thing. I think it's called ADIA, and I use it for everything. So A stands for attention, and then I is for interest. So you get someone's attention, you bring them in with the interest, then you create desire, which is the D, desire. And then the last A, I guess it's 4, is take action. So whenever you see an ad, they're going to get your attention like, did you gain 20 pounds during the quarantine?
Yeah. Let's not use that one.
I know, I'm just saying, if you're watching a commercial, like even just like a McDonald's commercial, they'll put like all this food that looks good, even though it never looks like that. Then they get your interest. Oh, well, you know, we deliver, or you don't have, it's touch free. And then you really want to eat this because it's going to make you feel better, whatever. You get them to desire your product. And then you say, okay, call today for 50% off, or your first burger's free, whatever you're selling. That model really works.
I love that. Thank you. That's great. It does. It makes logical sense. It does. Thank you very much.
Marketing 101 for you guys.
Yay.
Thumbs up.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And that's all I had.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about MailChimp. That's so crazy. I don't know. Okay. So I did write and send the guest post for the girl I was sending that to. I did not email another guest post idea, so I will make that my goal for this week, to send out another idea. So let's see. I don't know. I think I'm just going to spend a lot of time with like trying to clarify what I want to do, and so I can start focusing on it better. And I don't know, still just kind of simplifying my life a little more, and also more of like individual, like being there for people kind of thing, where it's like, oh, like I'm reading your work. I'm in a writing group at the library here, and we can't meet in person. So I'm just like, it's been a month since some of them sent some of their writing, and I just went today after I read some of yours, Debbie, and went through and like read and made comments on theirs. And I'm like, yeah, I just want to do more of that kind of stuff while I can. So just figuring out what I'm going to really focus on right now and everything. So kind of some soul searching time for me, I guess. So
I think a lot of people are doing that in this time frame. I think a lot of people are. They may not say that as well as you did, but a lot of people are. And I think that it's a good time to do it. A couple people that I've connected with have said the same thing. You know, they said, you know what, with all this going on, I'm just going to sit back and listen to see what it is that God's wanted me to do, because maybe on the other end of this, I'm not to be doing what I'm doing now. Or maybe I'm to change it just the slightest little bit. And sometimes when we're busy and we're moving and we don't hear that little turn. So I agree with you. I think it's a great time to reflect and, sit and listen. I really do. And to be productive, if that's what God has. Like Debbie, you've been really productive, which is amazing in this time.
I feel I may never have this time.
Yeah. That's the other end of the spectrum.
When Megan was asking me to join the group, I'm like, I don't know. I might have it by then. And I've been looking for work for a long time, even before all this started. But I always wanted to finish this book. So I feel that this is going to end eventually. What am I going to do after that? And while I'm figuring that out, I'm going to finish my book, because that's like a promise I made to myself. And it's a big one. And
yeah, it is.
On more off than on for 3 years.
So, yeah. I think if we had the opportunity to like get a really big group together and say, you know, what has this time frame done for you? You know, forget all of the negative. Yes, we know, you know, you can't find toilet paper, can't go see your kids, can't go see your mother, whatever positive. That. Right. What all the other stuff is. But what is the good that's coming out? Because God is all about economy, you know, and while this is going on, he's not surprised that it happened. So while this is going on, he's making sure that if this person needs to be quiet and still, he's given them that opportunity. If this person needs to have things not so busy, he's given that person the opportunity. And I think that's just amazing, you know, and we can get caught up in the negative and miss the fact that God's moving in the midst of it, you know. I was sharing with, yeah. You know,
I love that song, Building 429.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's great, Megan, that you realize that it's an opportunity for you to do this and it's something that you want to do, you know? So,
are you okay, Megan? You seem a little off. Great. You look like you're been out in the sun a long time. You look real relaxed and serene.
Yeah, I have been out here pretty much all day, but I've been thinking, like, I don't know, I feel like I got inundated with everything because my work is so much online and now everyone's online so much. So there's even more going on. And like, I had just cleaned out my email and everything. And then it's just like everyone came out of nowhere emailing like all these, you know, things I used to be subscribed to. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm still subscribed to them and going through all again. And I'm just like, I don't have time to keep up with my emails. That's part of why, you know, one of those old emails was like so far down my list. And so, yeah, it's time for me to I was just thinking of like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. I was, thinking about things that are eternal. And I was like, man, I feel like a lot of the stuff I'm doing is not very eternal. So let me just get my mind right and think about that kind of stuff. And yeah, really think about it. So, so I have like a list of books I'm going to really focus on reading a lot more. And
I haven't hardly read anything. I used to read like 3 books a week. And now I'm just like, I write more now. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And so I'm not only like trying to read more, but be more intentional about reading things that are applying to me right now. Instead of just, oh, here's the book that's in front of me or whatever. So,
or the library book is due and you got to quick read it. We don't have that.
Yeah.
It doesn't get read.
Megan, let me just make a comment about something you said about being concentrated on things that were eternal. Mm-hmm. You know, that you wanted. Don't underestimate that what you do doesn't have an eternal effect on somebody else, because that's very important. I've read your book, you know, and it has an effect that affects people eternal, because when you get people off of thinking about what I need to buy and what I need to keep because I need to clean it, store it, pack it, it gives them the opportunity to then look at their life as God created us to be. So I don't want you to miss that out, because it really is more of what you write that I have read, and I haven't read everything you wrote, really points people in the direction of thinking about why you're here and why God created you to be in this world right now. And that's really important because I think a lot of people don't realize that that's a true statement, and so I just wanted to tell you that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I do feel like my books are more, because I'm more intentional with my books, but I feel like the things I put out day to day, it's just like, I don't know. So, yeah, so thinking on that. But I mean, that's a good point. I can even, do a better job of just like talking about my books in a way that actually helps people, even just through a short little post that I do that helps them think of eternal things too. So
yeah, because it does that understanding of the decluttering of your mind and your thought process. You wrote a post, and I don't know when it was because I don't keep track, but you wrote it about making sure your thoughts weren't cluttered, and it was really, really good. It was really good because we don't realize how much we carry in our brain, all these bits and pieces that we pick up and we think we need to do something with, or we think we need to take action on. And you did a really good job of just saying, you need to think about that, and I don't even think you called it your thoughts, but I think you were talking about how taking too much in and letting it rent space in your head, It was really good, really good. So
okay. Well,
and you know how I feel about this writing group.
I was just about to get to that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like,
Don't say it.
Don't say it.
There's only one, right? There's only one left, right?
We do have one left, but I was gonna say I think I can commit to another 4 because Alabama's shut down till April 30th at least. So, and I'm assuming things will still be kind of slow and in between, or they might continue. I don't know. So if we did an extra 4 weeks, that would take us to May 14th. So y'all can think about that and let me know if you think you'll be able to do that, and I can see if
I'm in.
Okay.
I'm raising my hand. I'm raising my hand.
What can I do to contribute? Because this was like a certain amount of time.
Yeah, so we did through like the 6 weeks. Well, I don't know
I'm going to pay you for your time.
Okay.
More. Not more, but this is the agreement was for 6 weeks at this price, and then I think we should get something out of it.
I assume Jane's okay with me saying this, but she did where she paid for me to give a few copies of my book, well, several copies of my book away. So if you want to do something like that, or whatever, we can talk about that and
okay,
see how.
I'll do something for you. We'll work it out.
Right, we appreciate
I think
you, Megan.
Should have something because you're like hosting it and everything.
I know. I was like, the more I thought about it today, I was like, this week has been crazy, and in a way, it's like this is the highlight, especially with everything going on. So I would like to continue it, and I do appreciate you as well. So.
Great. Well, I'm in for another 4, so that works out well. Do you have to send a new invite, or will that just continue?
I
think it says weekly.
The only thing I saw on my calendar, it went to like July. I tried to make a note of it, but I don't know where it went, the note. But I was trying, because I went to put a date, and I'm like, why is this? Okay. I can't change it because I'm not the person.
Okay, gotcha.
You put it in for like weekly forever or something. I'm okay with that.
Mine goes on. I was happy. I was like, wow, this goes on forever and a day. So
Jane's like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah,
it goes on eternally.
I don't know how to use technology, y'all. So I think my thinking was, oh, okay, once we're done, then I'll go and change it and remove it because I didn't know how to make it end at a certain day, or maybe I didn't. I don't know.
That's okay. Well, then I'll just continue to let it be out there on there, and then when we're done after the next 4, then I can take it off.
And then if we don't meet, that means I have to write.
That's it.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks for extending it. I appreciate it.
Yes. Oh, it's so cute. That's awesome. Okay. Well, yeah, I'll see if we can get some other group members. I don't know if that means I would have to start a new one or if I can just add them, but if not, then we'll just keep it nice and small and fun. And I will see you next week. Thanks.
See you next week. Bye, Deb.